Scout software, which is popular open source glucose monitoring software that's enabled remote monitoring, and as well as of OpenAPS, which is an open source artificial pancreas system. And so just a brief background on what some of those things mean. I've spent the last 9 years, six or 7 or 8 or 9 years looking at various devices and how do we get the data off those devices. Now, the reason I've done that is because I have type 1 diabetes, and I was diagnosed 12 years ago with diabetes, and they gave me a bunch of computers. So here's computer number 1. This is called an insulin pump. It's got insulin in the reservoir, and over time, it gives me a constant supply called a basal rate. And then when I need extra insulin because of meals or other things, I tell it to go ahead and give me another dose of insulin called the bolus. So a bolus is a whole bunch of insulin all at once. So that's great. I can now get type 1 diabetes means I'm not making insulin, so now I can get insulin through another way. But how do I know how much insulin to take? So that's where measurement of glucose comes in very handy. So I've got a couple of these devices. This is computer number 2. So this computer shows what is the current glucose. And then based on that, I can make a decision about how much insulin do I need. So obviously, this is a very data-intensive disease. I'm surrounded by computers that are producing data. And my job, or the job that was assigned to me originally, was to take the data from one computer, get the other computer out, and then type the data into the second computer. So that situation didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because I make a lot of mistakes. I can put in the wrong number, I can read the wrong number, and it'd be much better if the computer that knew about the situation could then inform the computer that could make a decision about that information. So this is a very basic, very brief and terse overview to some of the devices that go into some of my personal care, and how I've taken on as a mission for the last several years to reverse engineer these devices, get the data off of it, understand what it means, and then be able to command and even control the other device, all using open source software that I developed. And so to prepare you for the next panel and the next set of speakers, I just want to touch on a couple themes really quickly. And one is intimacy. These devices are literally in or on our bodies. I wear one here and one here. You could say it's literally a thorn in my side. And so my relationship to these devices is extremely personal, extremely intimate, and that's not just true of one kind of patient, the diabetes patient, right? My friends with heart conditions have computers that are hooked up to their hearts, and computers are programmed by people, and our understanding is very limited, and so sometimes computers can go do the wrong thing, the thing that they were programmed to do. But sometimes when we perform a medical intervention, the best thing that we can do is try and then get it wrong to some degree. And so sometimes when we give therapy or intervention, we experience side effects from the therapy. Now, when something with one of these devices goes haywire and you get a side effect because of the therapy and not because of the disease, to what degree should you be empowered to go change the therapy, to get the right therapy from the device, right? And so our intimacy on these devices is directly connected to personalized and precision medicine, right? Because there's these 5 rights a lot of people are familiar with: the right drug, the right patient, right means of administration. And in order to do that, we're going to use these devices, and they're going to be connected. And so another topic I want to touch on very briefly is security. We're intimately connected to these devices, and they are on a hostile network. They were not designed to be on a hostile network. Everyone assumed that this device is going to sit on your hip, it's going to sit in your chest, and it's not going to be connected to the internet. Well, that's not true today. The first thing that I did when I got control was to put both sets of my devices on the internet. And so when we go and design these devices, I'd like to encourage us to think about connecting back to that idea of intimacy, of this diplomatic pouch, right? Something that is so secure that you feel comfortable putting all your secrets in this thing to be safeguarded. And a diplomatic pouch is trustworthy. Medical devices should be trustworthy. And so those are a few of the brief topics that I just wanted to touch on as we get ready for our next speakers. Thank you very much.